it's going to be a very competitive fight because Demetrius Andrade is a winner, and he's been winning his whole career. He's been winning as an amateur. He's been winning as a pro. He hasn't lost yet. Um, he doesn't have a great resume in terms of ex-world champions and high-level fights, but he's figured out a way to win. And I think he's a prideful guy, and he don't want to go his whole career and then I think he's about 34, 35, right? And he don't want to step up and then lose, and then everybody say, "Well, this is why you haven't fought anybody." So I expect him to fight his butt off. I think he's going. I think that and he has pedigree. David is a great fighter, but David wasn't a great amateur. So it's things that you can do to David as far as scoring points that people don't realize because he wasn't a great amateur. His dad did a great job with him, but he learned how to fight in a pro system and in the gyms. He don't have that extensive amateur pedigree. So that's why for as good as David is, you can score a lot of points on David. You know what I mean? David kind of screws you up with the volume and how mean he is and how nasty he is and the pressure he puts on you. So I expect Demetrius to be right with him. It's a matter of can Demetrius withstand the pressure in the second half of the fight, and can he hold up to the body punches and David making the ring small. I don't think Demetrius is going to have a problem with scoring points. It's a matter of your durability and can you sustain it. David kind of like it's a different fight with David. Is you're gonna get your points, you're gonna get your pound of flush. It's what can you do once the fight settles down. So that's what we're gonna find out about Demetrius. We're gonna find out about his physical toughness and his ability to be composed under the pressure. But his pedigree and his winning ways is gonna allow him to score points and win his share of rounds. We don't even know how he's gonna react because we haven't seen him with this level guy. I think the best fighter he's probably ever faced was maybe Jack Colque, and that was a pretty decent fight many years ago. Colque was a solid junior middleweight of about 7, 8 years ago, but I think that's probably the best fighter that Demetrius has fought. So that's the problem, with this fight. But I expect Demetrius to score a lot of points. I wouldn't be surprised if he was up after 6. But the problem is the second half of the fight, Benavidez coming downhill on you, hitting you to the body, running them combinations off. He's a mean, vicious dude that does not stop. And the problem that I see with David is can he overcome Demetrius' amateur pedigree? And will he have a little bit of a letdown? Because he put a lot into that fight with Caleb. He got into the best shape of his life. He came in at 166 pounds. I'm sure it was a brutal camp for him. And then I want to, with his style and what he has to do to get in shape, guys like that, sometimes they just fall off a cliff. Um, so I want to see if he can come back and be as sharp as he was for Caleb as he was for Demetrius. That was a hard camp. David went through a lot in that camp. You know what I mean? Like he trained hard. Like I was hearing stories about him training 14, 15 rounds, different sparring partners, and just a lot. You see the segment, he had the mental coach. That was a lot of stress on him. And now he's coming back again. So I want to see if he could be that was his Super Bowl versus Caleb. He they cool now, but he hated Caleb and he wanted to really get into that fight. So now you gotta see if he can come back and have a similar camp for Demetrius. And Demetrius gets the look, even though he's a southpaw and Caleb is right-handed, he gets to look at a lot of the little things that Caleb did to David successfully, and he gets to pick on that. That's why consistency and keep being able to win at the top level, is a testament to a fighter's greatness. Because once the tape gets out on you, and once a guy has a good night on you, then everybody, all the coaches and the fighters, they get to see it and they get to study it, and then they get to try to improve on whatever you did to them. You know what I mean? So Caleb was able to do little things to David. So now Demetrius will be able to look at that video and say, okay, I can do this and I can do that, and here's where David surges. So everything is interconnected in boxing. So I expect a good fight. I don't think Demetrius is gonna come in here and lay down, because if he do, his career is gonna kind of be looked at as a fraud. You know what I mean? Like He's a prideful guy. You know what I mean? He wants to win. He likes to win. He's been begging for opportunities. He can't go in this fight and just get blitzed and get put out because everything he did from the time he turned pro up until now won't be looked at as real. He doesn't have to win, but he has to give a good account of himself, and I think he knows that. So I expect him. I expect a really good fight.